Welcome back to Just Magic the Gathering. After having reviewed my last video before posting it, a couple things stood out to me, and the main one being I dropped a couple of thoughts on the floor as I got interrupted by gameplay, and at a certain point I'd like to apologize for that, but I would like to also circle back and just address them. The one thing I was saying about the 30-33 split on the 20-20-20 to make up my 60 card deck. Splitting your deck up kind of equals the probabilities. I missed, I think, 6 land drops in a row on the other day for the game I posted, and the likelihood of that happening with 20 lands is under 10%. So it was more bad luck than anything, and kind of knowing when to distinguish that versus... Because at this point, even though I've felt land strapped a couple times, I haven't lost really with it because of being land strapped. I don't know. At a certain point, I'm still more than happy to continue to play it and make the call or determination later. And I just kind of wanted to address why, I guess part of the, if you break it equally, it becomes a lot easier to calculate some of those probabilities. If you do kind of want to know how to min-max. Or the other thing on that note is with what I was saying on the Fuel Tank Feaster. There's a trick with the Fuel Tank Feaster and him proccing with the omens. So the card I had in my hand that I checked was... that was my other deck, and I don't know why. It was sorry. The black one that gets me the white, black and white. There's a trick with the Fuel Tank Feaster and any of these omen cards. So the Fuel Tank Feaster will, at the beginning of my main phase, get one of the cards in my hand a reduction in its casting cost. So it casts one less colorless to cast. And if I can get it to proc on something like this card, the Purging Storm board, it works for both the main casting cost as well as the omen casting cost. So it'll take this from being able to cast as an instant for 2 to being able to cast as an instant for 1. And it's really handy. When I saw it light up, I was like, oh yeah. And I don't even know why I even thought about it, because it's different deck, different mechanic. This is my dragon deck, and it's probably a decent time to maybe showcase it, or wasn't necessarily planning on playing it, but its main mechanic is omens. I can get my omens off cheaper, I can just get my omens out. And because the main thing about being omen is my Dragon Soul Prodigy. So whenever I cast my first omen spell each turn, I conjure a duplicate of that card onto the battlefield. It gets haste, and at the beginning of my next step, it shuffles back into its library. So what I can do with a pairing is basically have her on the field when I play, it's like the Twin Maw Stormbrood. For 2, I can deal 5 direct damage to a creature without flying, at which point this card enters the battlefield because she procs it, and I gain 5 life. Plus now I have a flyer that I can attack that has haste, and I can attack with 4/5. There's quite a few of these that basically any of the omens she works great with. That, you know, I can cast and get an extra land on the battlefield and bring this out. Doesn't work as effectively, obviously, if it comes out. But it allows me to seek any of my lands, so I can pull from any of my named lands. For 1, I can get a land that's any of my basics, which is really nice in that my main draw mechanic is in the blue spectrum, and I need to be able to pull my whatever I need out directly. Going back to the majority of the land is in forest, but most of my double casts are sometimes like, oh, I need an extra red. I can go searching for my basics easily, and then my names if needed, because it's kind of handy to be able to scry if I pull it. Or I haven't really played this deck much since since the last cycle. I had to make it, I guess, current. And that's when I was actually just looking at it earlier today because I actually added the Uranus Council. With how many dragons I have in this deck, this is basically a 1 casting cost. Which allows me to seek any of my other dragons. So wondering the legitimacy of doing some additional balancing on this deck. And last time I actually built my dragon deck, I didn't have any of these. It's kind of expensive, 4 for 3 cards, and I still have to discard. But if I can proc it with my Dragon Soul Prodigy, then I can, when it comes in, I also get to return 2 other target non-land permanents to their owner hand. So going back to blue is really nice for slowing down. I'm kind of curious to see how this plays. I basically just threw most of my omens that looked good in here that were like my dragons. The one thing that's probably worth mentioning, the Patchwork Banner, I can choose a dragon or creature type, which is in this case dragons. They all get +1/+1, and I can tap it for mana. So for 3, I can basically mana ramp and get +1/+1 counter on all my dragons. And Territorial Strike if I behold a dragon. That's really my only control. This deck hasn't traditionally held up that well, or it's fun to play. And yeah, if I behold a dragon, which is basically any card in my hand, other than Vigorous Farming, the Fuel Tank Feaster, the Dragon Soul Prodigy, my Aether Siphon, and the Terrial, I guess it's all of these. Or going back to the balance on what makes that. This deck has traditionally not been really great on draw mechanic, but I wouldn't mind showcasing it real quick and hopefully can get the Dragon Soul Prodigy to work, because it is fun to play if it works as expected. And we'll see how it holds up. My expectation isn't actually that great. Virtuous. At a certain point, I'm happy. I can't play my Dragon Soul Prodigy until I get my banner up. I should have actually seen that when it came down, so it would have been on top. Playing Angels, maybe? They're playing blue-white. So if I play my Dragon Soul Prodigy, I can play this on their turn to pre-tap one of their creatures. I'm assuming they're going to push, and I'll be able to defend with an unexpected defender. Probably should have played that beforehand. Wait, that was stupid. One of the things also is that that card duplicated, and that the original omen went back into my hand. And if I cast this, I'll basically return everything. What do I want to do here? Because I can get another land out. Thinking that's basically what I'll do. Save the other for hexproof if needed. Hmm. Not a bad showcasing so far. Sorry, I just realized that it was probably a little bit of dead air hanging there. I don't have any more red. I could have cast that and I didn't even realize it because I basically needed that. Gotten a free land the hand before, had a different card that hand. Pretty sure I'm going to lose this game. And the Pearl Wake, going back to this, only targets without flying as well. Either way, that'll get me alive. He doesn't really want to push because sorry, the target non-land permanent to destroy. Come on. Mm. Makes me wonder what they have, or they only have 3 land. I don't have anything I can do until I get red. I need a mountain. I don't know what he's waiting for. Huh. So now this card will get him a card and 3 life. At this point, he knows I'm mana strapped on. Mountains. Don't necessarily know why he did that. For 1? Yep, that's game. Or just let him attack. We're going back to the mechanics fun if you can get it to pull off right. I just got mana strapped, and without a real good card draw engine. So. And it was kind of a long game. But yeah, that was my Omen deck, or my Dragon's deck. Can obviously use some improvement, or glad I was actually able to get the Dragon Prodigy out and show how the replication works. Yeah, with that being said, I look forward to playing some more Magic in the future.